Well, I hope that we have more people. This is this is slim pickings, huh? If not,
Yes, ma'am.
if not, guess what? It's just going to be me and you. Which
I'm getting kind of the last couple classes I've had have been like that. Just me and my professor.
I think we have quite a few students that live on that east coast of Florida. And what now? Where are you? Where are you located?
Arkansas.
Arkansas. Okay, yeah. And I'm in Oregon. So, but I mean, there's still some people in Florida, of course, that were not impacted by that. But this time, that storm moved up what to North Carolina or something, other than
Yes.
the east coast of Florida. So it was pretty intense.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be what's going on, because I got a list from the university, about these are the students that are in the impacted zone. Please, use consideration, meaning, waive late penalties wherever, for at least a week. Because some, they don't even have internet, not yet
Oh
restored.
man.
I'm telling you, it's really scary, and I think, at least for me, what I do is I always take this kind of an opportunity to say that, hi, Samar. Always take this opportunity to say thank you to God. Just I'm grateful. I walk around with an attitude of gratitude every day. And it'd be things like this that just make you feel like, what are you complaining about? That kind of thing.
For real.
Yeah. Now, Samar, where are you located?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
I'm sorry, where?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
I don't know where that is. And I
North
just
Carolina State.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's pretty darn beautiful over there because it's
It
where I'm
is.
thinking.
It is.
Yeah. Lots of trees and hills, that kind of stuff.
A lot of trees. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love it. Yeah, I love that kind of
A lot. Yeah.
geography. But, I tell you what, I don't know whether I've talked about it yet in this chat, but, and not in this one, of course, but what I mean is, one of the series, where I took a road trip in May. And I went to 5 different states, 7 different national parks. And I went to Death Valley National Park, which is in California. Um, I didn't, even the barren deserts, I didn't find one area that I didn't love, you know? So I can say, well, I really prefer the hills and trees and green and I love the ocean and all that. But there wasn't one place that I went that I could say, well, I don't really like it here. I went to Salt Lake City, I went to, like I said, Jackson Hole, Wyoming, went to, besides Death Valley, the Grand Canyon. And so, I just enjoy everything, at least I try.
That's a good. I love like
Yes,
traveling.
yeah, yeah. So, you guys, it may just be us because it's a little after 5. So I'm going to start, but I will say this. I'm going to be covering this in such a way that I'm going to kind of pause a little bit more than I do. The reason is when there's more students, often, we have more questions and I have to get through a certain set of material, by a certain time. I try not to keep you guys more than an hour. Originally, when we had planned all these kinds of chats and stuff, we said, oh, half an hour. And I'm like, half an hour? What are you supposed to do? Not talk to anybody? you know? And of course, that's why I love this stuff, is because I love to interact with students. So for me, that's the big part of it. So I'm just going to tell you that I would appreciate if you guys had questions or comments to feel comfortable with absolutely breaking in and saying, oh, yeah, guess what happened to me, or this is what I do in a case like this. All right. I want you to feel very, very comfortable, more like a chat than a presentation. And if I notice anybody trying to come in, I'll certainly let them in. But I think it's I think it must be due to hurricane. Was it Ian? I think it was called or whatever. So we're so sorry for those people, but some people are still having issues with connectivity. So, all right. So we're going to talk about time and stress management. Okay. And I don't think you guys care about this anymore. I think you both know who I am, right? That's just, that's the only thing that I think is kind of interesting is that I've been here since January of 2004. I mean, I don't care how many times I see that. When I think about that, that's a long time. It's my 19th year. So that's the only thing that's really, to me, kind of like, wow. So I love this kind of graphic because for me, when I see something like this, it just starts me feeling anxiety, like I can almost have a heart palpitation. But
Me
that's
too.
normally what my life feels like sometimes, right?
That's
Anybody
right.
can relate to that?
Yes.
Yes,
If you
ma'am.
can't, yeah, if you cannot relate to that, then please tell me your secret. And certainly this is, discussion on time and stress management. So obviously I have some recommendations for good strategies so that this doesn't happen in your life all the time. But I am the first one to tell you that life has its challenges and a lot of things happen unexpectedly. For heaven's sakes, look at the hurricane. Do you think that somebody last week or whatever, had plans, that those plans are not upended right now? So life happens. And again, this is sometimes a consequence of what we plan anyway. But sometimes, and this is probably the more important part, we don't plan well. We don't have contingency plans, meaning plans in case something goes awry. But we cannot live expecting disasters, right? We never get anything done.
That's true.
So let's look at what time management is all about. We're going to talk about time management and then stress management. And we, I think, easily could acknowledge that those are very closely related. So time management is the ability to plan and control how you spend the hours in your day to effectively accomplish your goals. Now, the thing about time management for me is I'm a project manager. So I love planning and organizing. In fact, I mean, my children used to give me a hard time because I cannot work if I don't have things organized on my desk. It's too distracting for me. I do have some limitations with like I never was a very good multitasker. And we know now too, of course, that multitasking is not as efficient as we used to think it was. That although our brains are amazing organs, if you multitask, the brain will focus on what it is that's presented to it and will work with you, but then will take away some attention or focus on the other things. So you can't throw a lot of things into one bucket and expect that you're going to be perfect in all those areas. So time management and project management are really strategies that focus on planning above really everything else. That it often was a funny little question that let's see if I think somebody came in. Hi, Alicia. Maybe I'm hopefully saying that right. Welcome, Alicia. Oh yeah. So planning, there used to be a cute little kind of like one of those brain teasers. Like, what is more important, planning or execution? Meaning, once you finish the plan, you're actually doing the work. And that was a trick question because neither of those are really more important. But a lot of people don't recognize how critical your plan is in order to complete your execution as successfully and efficiently as possible. So important to keep that in mind. Alicia, I mentioned there's just the three of us. Well, four of us. So feel free to comment, to add information, to ask questions. We've got so few of us here today. We're going to enjoy it. We're going to have more of a chat. And I don't feel like I'm as stressed just from having to cover all of this because there's fewer people. So, any questions? Anybody so far? Just I said, just go ahead and ask when you have it. Okay. For time management, we have many benefits. There is less stress if you are more organized. If you've done your planning, and as I said, oh, did somebody have a question there? No? Okay. So, and I'm going to try to keep tabs on the chat, but since there's so few of us, please just come right in and don't worry. Like I said, I've got both the chat and the other view open, but I kind of like to concentrate on the PowerPoint itself. So, all right. So yeah, if you are in a position where you're so organized, you've got everything done that you need to get done to put your day together. Somebody else, all two people coming in, wonderful. Then clearly it is a matter of do the work. Hello, everybody. Hello and welcome. Because you have decided maybe you're using time boxing, and we're going to look at that here, I think, a couple slides from now, to say, I estimate that if I have 5 projects to work on, I'm going to devote an hour to each one. Or, well, wait a minute, if I have to work on my individual project and I'm working on my discussion board, nope, I'm going to have a half an hour devoted to my discussion board and an hour to the project. That kind of thing. So you've done all this planning. However, maybe even though you've done the planning, something else happens, okay, the next day. So you need to adjust. Either a child got sick or whatever. You need to move things around. You need to be flexible. Now I'm going to ask you guys a question. Is it more important to plan the night before or the morning of? Who has an idea on that? This is not a trick question.
I do. Yes, ma'am.
Do you think it's more important to plan the
I
night
would say the night before.
Okay. Yes, I would say absolutely. I agree with you. Everything that I've ever read and what I have used for myself is to plan the night before. For one thing, it helps me sleep better. If you are planning the night before, you also know what time you need to get up, right? And you know that you've already got things into a certain schedule, as if you have meetings or you have certain time restrictions, like picking up the kids from school or whatever. So you need to work around those restrictions that are there. But if you wait till the morning and you think, oh, what do I have on my agenda today? Maybe you didn't wake up in time. Enable. Hope that works. The live transcript is on. Okay. So yeah, planning the night before with what we were talking about, with the sense that you need to be flexible in case something urgent comes along or something unexpected happens where you may need to be a little flexible and change things around. You need to have that attitude going into the next day. But yes, absolutely plan at least cursorily what you need to do. Okay. All right. And the night before. All right. When you are effectively time managing, you get more done. That is so obvious, right? That if you have allotted certain slots, or like I said, the time boxing into your schedule, it's important that you look at that. And there's another, what is that called? It's not a meme, it's truism, I think is what it's called. The more time you have, let's see, how does it go? Let me think about that. Here's how it goes. Time fits the, oh, for heaven's sakes, you guys, what is the name of that? Time fits, oh, the work fits into the amount of time you have to do it in. And what that means is that if you have very loose parameters around your project, let's say you say, well, after dinner, I'm just going to have to work on that individual project after I put the kids to bed or whatever, and you don't put a particular timeline in, let's say 7 to 8, okay, pretty soon you're not starting till 7:30, may not start till 8, you're going till 10. That work could have been accomplished in an hour if you were focused, you got rid of a lot of the distractions that you might have, and all of a sudden you're much more efficient and effective. So again, do not put yourself in a position where you are not devoting the time that you need, and that you do not have a reasonable expectation of the amount of time that you would need to complete the project. Okay. Nia, I have admitted her, but for whatever reason, she's not capable of coming in. Just admitted her again. So people are still joining us, which is great. Okay, so get more done as a result, because again, you are specifying the amount of time for each project. You're able to do more projects, right? And you can also schedule in free time, break time, fun time, because this way, instead of just dragging around trying to get something done and you're saying, oh, I'm getting to it or whatever, and you end up taking all night, then your next day you feel so tired and you're going, wow, it took me 4 hours. It could have been done in an hour. Here comes somebody else, so this is great. All right, let's rework, because as you plan, as you get yourself ready, you've got your resources. Maybe you needed to look up an article in the library that you did the day before. Everything is in front of you. You are able to concentrate on quality, so you have less rework, less life friction and problems. Oh my goodness. I mean, this relates very much to the stress management, right? That if, again, you have very poor planning and things happen and you don't even know what you had scheduled, or you say, oh my gosh, I got to, my child is sick and I got to go pick him up and take him to the doctor, and you don't even know what else you wanted to get done that day. While you're at the doctor's office sitting there, because it was urgent, right? So you get in and you just have to wait another hour, right? You don't even know what you're going to start on to work on, right? Because you've got some free time while you're waiting, but you weren't organized to have your list with you. So causes a lot more friction. More free time. Now, more free time does not mean that all of a sudden you're creating more hours in the day. It means that you are so efficient that you're able to schedule, focus, get things done. And as I said, you can even schedule that free time in to enjoy yourself. Maybe take a break, take a walk, call a friend, watch a little movie or whatever. Whatever you need to do, this would be time that you can schedule into your day. Less wasted time, again, because you're more organized, more opportunities, and it's nice because you get to do the things. I personally love to go for a walk. It kind of helps me de-stress. Almost every time that I do it, I feel like, oh, this is so great to get out into nature and breathe some fresh air and then come back in the office and I feel refreshed. but more opportunities to even do more fun things. Like I said, if you want to just call a friend, spend time with your children or whatever, improves your reputation because as a result of being organized, and let's say you're in a group project and you deliver to the group, the expectations are that you will continue to deliver, right? But also, like at work, let's say you're just super good at when the boss says to you, I need this report by end of day, you give it by end of day. All right. So all of a sudden, you're up for a promotion, you're up for a more challenging project because it improves your reputation and trust. And I really think maybe I should add that to this reputation and trust. Because how important is trust? Who would like to give me a little bit of information on why you want to be trustworthy? Well, you want to be trustworthy because you want to have the ability to present yourself as someone who can deliver, okay? You also want that to be a reciprocal relationship. When you are trustworthy, you generally relate to other people who are trustworthy as well, so they can be trusted, and you get a more fulfilled relationship as a result, all right? Because your values are what make it a common value denominator between the two people. And again, you will be up for promotions and up for more challenging opportunities because you are trustworthy. Okay. Less effort. I mean, like I said earlier, some of you probably didn't hear that, but I cannot work if I'm not organized. If I start to do something and I think, oh my gosh, my deadline's coming up, I sure didn't do that right, or something happened or whatever, and I've got papers that are scattered, you know how much more time it takes for me to find what I need, to put it into the piles that I need, and to get thinking and put my brain in order. So a lot less effort when you're using effective time management, and then more time where it matters. So if you put parameters around what you need to get done as a project, then what you are doing is you are saying, this should not take longer than this. If something happens and I need more time, I can be more flexible. And maybe I have already gained some time from the previous project I was working on. But I also am, as a person, going to say, I'm putting some things in that really matter to me. Again, calling a friend, taking a walk, doing some yoga, taking a nap. Some days you just need a nap. So all of this is a benefit of using good time management strategies. So what are these strategies? When we look at time management, we look at what I hinted about before, eliminating distractions. And I talked a little bit about that at the beginning, about how we used to think, researchers, doctors used to think we are almost all powerful, that we can multitask, we can listen to music, we can watch a movie, we can play a game, we can talk to people while we're working on a project. You lose so much time. Your brain has to reset, in a sense, to get you back on focus. If you take too long of a break, because some people say, oh, I'm thinking about what I'm writing, but at the same time, I'm kind of getting through with a few papers here for tomorrow. And every time you get distracted like that, it takes an effort to get back on task and to set your brain so that you can concentrate. So imagine if you have multiple distractions, that can increase the time you need to complete your one project by 2, 3, or even 4 times. Be focused at the task at hand. Yes, absolutely. Do your best to eliminate distractions. If you listen to music, does anybody know what kind of music can actually help you think more clearly and concentrate? Anybody? Jazz, yes.
I
Yeah,
play
I'm sorry, go ahead.
jazz.
Ooh, something's not working. There's something wrong with the audio. Um, darn. I'm sorry.
Is it white noise?
No, it's not white noise. Did you hear anybody say anything in that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So what I heard was like ringing or a tinging, like somebody trying to say something. So anyway, I apologize to whoever was trying to speak there. But when we're talking about music, yes, jazz, as long as it doesn't have jazz is
I got one.
I hear somebody now. David, is that you?
Yes, ma'am. Elevator music.
Sorry, what's that?
Elevator music.
Elevator music. Yeah, yeah. Well, because we don't want any music that has words in it, because then your brain is going to want to sing along, and it's distracting it away from the project. So jazz, elevator music, classical music. By all means, classical music that usually doesn't have words to it, because sometimes with elevator music, they may not play the words, but you may be familiar with the song, so you're singing along. So you have to be careful. So anything that takes more effort away, for your brain to be thinking of words is going to cause some confusion. So yeah, something similar. Use a calendar. This strategy is by far something that goes along with project management, because in project management, we take a project and we say, when is it finally due? And you go to the end and you say, here's the final date, and you work backwards in project management. Okay. You take and you say, let me break that down into halves or quarters. Look at tasks, activities, and what are called milestones. Okay. So I don't know, Samar, what that is. SMORS. Are you talking about s'mores, like that you eat? Must be something
I'm
else,
not sure
right?
what is it called exactly, but I think they always hear s'mores, like, they're making sounds either eating or showering or what.
Oh, yes. Yes. Okay. And you get distracted by that, right? So you
I
need
do.
more of a quiet kind of
Yeah, I
environment.
love
Yes.
quiet.
Now
Yeah.
I understand what you mean. Yes, absolutely. Oh, yeah, very, very good. So, but okay, so use a calendar, because then you can keep yourself um, focused on, are you doing enough to get to the halfway point? Let's say that you have a project that's due in 2 weeks. And in 1 week, you say, well, by that time, I need to have my research done. I need to have my rough draft written. So you can gauge your own progress and be able to say, I should be here at this place and time. And if not, that's having things noted in your calendar will give you the ability to say, I need to schedule more time, whereas I only scheduled a half an hour for today. I'm behind. So I need to find that extra time. If I can't find it today, I need to find it tomorrow, because then I'm going to be caught up with the rest of the activities that I've written down. So it's a very, very good tool to give yourself a reference point as to what progress you should have made when you originally planned your project. Use a checklist. Okay, here's what I do. I have found that using a checklist is fantastic for keeping me on track. Okay. And I arrange my checklist in terms of most important. I don't know whether any of you do this, but I'll put, like, I don't necessarily use ABC, but that is a plan, a type of a strategy that is known as the ABC strategy. But what I do is I just put it at the top of my page, the most important things, then the least important things at the bottom, and the middle things that I say, if today goes by, I need to have the first 5 things completed. I don't have a second chance for that. If today goes by, but I still have time, I can go into that second category. So in the ABC plan, A would be your top priority, must do, must do. B is would like to do, and C is can do if I have a chance. What people have found after using the ABC strategy is that sometimes those C list items move up in priority, right, to the next day. They could become an A or a B because you just didn't have a chance to do them. Sometimes, though, people will notice, and I think this is so brilliant, that the list that was on the C list is the same C list day after day after day, which means that you really didn't need to do it. You not only didn't have time for it, but it wasn't important enough for you to really worry about. You got by just fine without doing it. And maybe it's dusting. Maybe it's, making the bed. Maybe, you know what I mean? The little things that are sort of, well, housekeeping is good, but I'm working, I'm taking care of children, I'm married, I have errands, I have unexpected things, I'm helping with my mom is sick. All those things that come up that say those are more important than what it is you would like to do if you could do it all. So sometimes it also helps to be a little forgiving of ourselves. And when you make a checklist like that, you say, well, I didn't get a chance to do the C list, but you know what? I did a lot of other things that were really great, and I'm proud of the quality I did on the A list. That project, when I handed it in, I feel so good about that. So again, prioritize with a sense of urgency and also a sense of value. Get organized. Like I said, for me, that's I just not capable of being a good multitasker. So but I recognize that. I don't try to fault myself over it. I don't try to blame myself for it, right? I just try to do the best that I can. And sometimes recognizing that we have some things that we're good at and some things that we need improvement on is okay, right? Right? We're all individuals. Schedule rewards like that walk. Oh my gosh. If I miss my walk, and sometimes I do, but it's rare, all right? Because for me, that is a reward. That is the time that I can say, I thank God that I can walk. I broke my right ankle many years ago, and doctors, specialists, I broke it, what was called a trimalleolar. I broke it in 3 different areas. And the specialists were all saying, well, you might need a cane. You're definitely never going to walk without a limp. And do you know, I walk without a limp. I have scars on both sides of my right ankle that show the surgery. I have a plate and those big, thick screws that keep my bones in place. And I walk and I thank God every day. And I think that an attitude of gratitude is also a really good way to appreciate what you have, to appreciate what you've done, and not to be so hard on yourself. So again, unexpectedly, bad things can happen, and unexpectedly good things can happen. And so that's why I say I'm grateful. Get a good night's sleep. I'll tell you what, if I don't get a good night's sleep, I could barely concentrate the next day. I'm not saying I can't get through my day, but if I'm up really late, sometimes because of poor planning, right, then I may be in a situation where I could suffer for it the next day, right? So get a good night's sleep as possible, as much as possible. Do your best to do that, okay? Sometimes, now, what do you guys do to get a good night's sleep? What do you have
Hi, Miss
any?
Susan.
Hi, Angel. Did you have trouble getting in?
No, I had chores to do before I could get on.
Oh, okay, just a little bit went over, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So anybody have a routine for getting a good night's sleep? Because research has shown that if you have the same repetitive activities, your brain will actually start anticipating that you're leading up to going to sleep. Some of it involves just not being on the computer for half an hour. I know Angel likes to read physical books.
I read before I go.
Yeah, which is really
Not
good.
physical books. I read on my phone. I read on my phone
Oh, no, that's right. I forgot. You do read on your phone because we've talked about that.
because
It's
it,
better if you
yeah,
could
because
get
it,
away from the phone.
yeah, but it also reads it to me when I'm actually getting ready to sleep. I'll turn it on, the actual reading part of it,
It's fun.
and it'll read
Right,
it to me.
right. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And you have devoted it, saved it in a sense, so that your brain knows that you're done with the work part and you can enjoy that and relax, and therefore you get more tired and you do train your brain then that you're getting ready to sleep. Alicia,
Yep.
did you have anything to say? I noticed you're not muted. I didn't know whether you wanted to add anything.
Miss Susan, Dr. Susan.
Yeah, it's just Suzanne. Consuelo, is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Tell me what your routine is.
I wanted to do my routine, and then they're in here to walk me for therapy.
Oh, okay.
I just had knee surgery yesterday.
Oh
Um,
my goodness, how are you feeling? Are you
I'm
on
okay.
painkillers still? No?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
on pain pills.
Oh, okay.
They,
So a successful surgery though. So now it starts the therapy, right?
yes, ma'am.
Physical
They
therapy.
did a
Okay.
full
Okay,
knee
you
replacement.
take care. Yes, absolutely. You go. But so tell me, yeah, your routine, so I won't interrupt you.
Oh, no worries. What I do is even when I'm at work and it gets close to that time, because I'll drink some tea.
Uh-huh.
I do my tea, and then I will listen to my jazz, and it takes me off to sleep.
You know what? Isn't that wonderful? I just that sounds so
Yeah.
soothing. What kind of tea do you drink?
Um, they had this store called Tivana in Atlanta that they discontinued. It's like a branch off of Starbucks because I see it
Oh,
in
uh-huh.
Starbucks.
Yeah.
You can see it in Publix as well,
Okay.
but it's like a peach tea bag,
Well,
and you
isn't
can
that
just
appropriate
try
for
it.
Atlanta, Georgia? The peach
Yeah.
tree, peach state and the Peachtree Street and all that.
Yes, ma'am.
I used to live there, in Atlanta, so I know it very well. I
Yeah,
remember all that stuff. So yeah,
the
so it's a
apartments
peach
I
flavor.
skag.
Oh, so it's a nice non-caffeinated tea. It's an herbal tea.
Yeah, it's pretty good to me. I can drink it without sugar. I put a little honey in it, and
Oh, you
I'll
are
listen.
such a role model. I'm so glad you're talking about this. These are such good habits. Thank you for sharing them.
No problem. They're trying to get me to walk, and I didn't want to just jump on and jump off, but
Uh,
it's they coming to make me walk. Ugh.
Okay, you need to, so you can get better. But thank you so much for coming in, at least, for the time that you spent with us and for
Will I
providing those excellent. Uh,
will I be able to go back and look at this once I finish? Because I know
yes,
you're probably done.
yes, it'll be in the archives, and you can see. And do you have my email address?
I think so. I think so.
If you
Yes,
have
ma'am.
trouble, it's SMALEK at AIUNIV.edu. It's like AIUN, so it's like university, AIUNIV, like the U is in place of AIU and university. So you only have one U, right? AIUNIV.edu, and it's SMALEK. I show it on the last slide, but since you're leaving, I wanted to give it to you. If anything,
Oh,
if you have any trouble, okay? But you go into
yes.
that message you got from Daniel Wilson
Okay.
as the archives link, okay?
I got you.
And contact me if you have trouble, all right?
All right. Thank y'all so much.
Okay, bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Miss
Okay.
Susan.
Yes, Angel. Yes.
Tomorrow I don't get to have a break. Tomorrow I get to make up an assignment
Oh, you missed
because
an
last
assignment?
week because last week they started on they started bulldozing our area for our house over the
Oh,
weekend. So I kind of got distracted and I got behind.
uh-huh. But
So
that doesn't
I,
happen that often. So yeah, I can understand
so
that.
I asked the teacher, I was like, I can only, because I was thinking to myself, I can only make up one assignment because two of them, along with the two that are due this week, that's just too much. So one of them I can make up this week, and
Yeah.
I can work on the other one throughout the next 3 weeks if I have to.
Yeah. And
So
did they fall for that?
I got a hold of the teacher, and I was like, I
Yeah.
found some information on the eyewitness thing, and I
Uh-huh.
found all the issues in our textbook. It was glaring right at me. I was like,
Uh-huh.
but can I have at least until Thursday to turn it in?
Uh-huh.
She's like, yes, but just be reminded you have a late penalty. I was like, okay, that's cool. It's just minus 10 points.
Oh, okay. But still though, you know what? That's really great. First of all, you are very communicative. You have
Yeah.
involved your instructor. Yes, sometimes they can waive that penalty. You know, that's I usually would if somebody would call me like with what you just said, because life happens, you know. And see, the other thing I think that students also maybe should understand, an instructor sometimes can't make an exception. Like if it's a discussion board, they can't accept
Yeah.
that late. That is a firm policy by AIU. But if you're talking to me and you're saying, can I hand in my part of my group project late? I'd say no, no. People are counting on you. No, there is no exception. You have to do it on time. Again, what I was talking earlier about being trustworthy, right? People are counting on
Yeah.
you. But you say to me, can I submit my individual project like 24 hours later or 48 hours later or whatever? I can't imagine a time that I would say no and I would waive the late penalty, because if you're writing to me, something must have happened that was significant in some way, you know?
Hey, well, see, and on top of that, I was also struggling with what I originally was going to do the assignment on, which
Uh-huh.
is,
Right, too many choices or whatever.
yeah, there was,
And I'd
and
rather
I
see the
had an
student-
idea, but I couldn't find an issue with it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was like,
It
so
happens.
on top of that, with them bulldozing the area and cleaning it
Mhm.
up,
Yeah.
getting it ready to be dug for the foundation and stuff, I kind of got distracted on top of trying to find the issue, and then I ended up going over yesterday the assignment, seeing if I could actually somehow work on it.
But that you
And then
didn't
I
leave
come,
yourself enough time. By that
yeah,
time,
and I
that,
come,
yeah, you're in a
but
crunch.
I was also in communications with the teacher the
Yeah.
previous week,
That's
Saturday and
fantastic.
Sunday.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I've been talking about. I think you're doing everything exactly
I
right.
was like,
So let's hope
she
you
finally
don't
got
have
it.
another assignment.
She got a hold of me on Monday because I had to find out when her class meetings were.
Oh,
Her
okay.
meeting time was. So I got
Right.
a hold of her and I was like, okay, can you explain what the problem statement is for this? But I guess I wasn't clarifying it with her,
Okay.
my question.
Yeah.
So I started looking into the other and I come across chapter 6, which is issues with eyewitnesses and testimony.
Exactly what you really
And that was
needed.
one of our choices out of the list she handed out
And
to
you just,
everybody.
yeah, you just absolutely just fell into it then. Exactly what you needed.
Yeah.
The other thing
Yeah.
I want to say about this, for everybody's benefit, is absolutely contact your instructor. But if you have too many of these late assignments, even though it's only 10 points, they add up. They can impact your grade significantly at the end. So if it happens,
that's
it
why
happens. Try not to have it happen again.
And that's why I try to keep on top of it.
Yes,
But there's
yes,
times that I either
yes,
get a
but we're
headache
human.
too bad that I can,
No, we're all
or B,
human
Una
beings.
mujer otra vez de los otros días.
Luis, are you saying something here? Sorry, go ahead. Luis? No?
Hello.
Yes, did you want to add something to that?
No, not at the moment. Thank you.
Okay, I'm just going to mute you then, but feel free to add comments or recommendations, okay?
Yes.
Okay.
That was like,
So,
so I told I asked my instructor, I was like, I just stumbled upon this. Can you give me at least until Thursday? I know there's a late penalty. She's like, as long as you understand there's a 10-minute, 10
yeah.
point penalty for a
And
week
can I
and
say
so
to
forth
your
and so forth.
instructor? No,
Like, I'm not
very,
doing
very
that.
good. You guys are communicating, you're communicating very, very well. So,
Yeah.
but as I said, does anybody have any kind of a recommendation or wants to add to that, or any other comment before I move forward? So again, though, these are good examples of this is real life. This happens. So, okay. So as I said, using a calendar is a great tool because you can put your due dates on it. You can put half of the timeline as a prompt or a reminder to say, am I making the progress that I should have? Have I considered all of the tasks and milestones that are required? Okay. Get organized, use the checklist. We talked about the checklist.
Hey, Miss Susan.
Yes.
I figured out how my calendar on my phone could give me reminders of our schedule.
Good. Okay, fantastic.
So I've been
Yes,
using that.
that's wonderful. That's the same way as using a physical calendar, right? Or a document, and that would be a kind of a virtual tool that you can set as an alarm, right?
Yeah, that's what my phone does. Is it send me a notice like feed kids or walk dogs, wake up at about 10 o'clock,
Outstanding.
and go
Outstanding. So yes,
ding.
in fact, I'm going to say this here. I'm going to add this. Use calendar can be virtual as well, like your phone. You can set that so that and it really helps if you have identified, like what we talked about with time boxing, where you said, I'm going to work from 3 to 4 on this project. When the bell dings, you can have a choice of saying, I'm going to finish this up in 5 minutes, or look ahead as what you have scheduled and say, is it more important that I finish this? Take an additional half hour. The other benefit of setting a virtual alarm is that you don't have to worry about constantly looking at the clock. Okay. So is it possible for you to set a virtual alarm, concentrate on what you're doing, and be more efficient as a result?
There is a problem with having it virtual though.
Okay, what
If
is
you
the
have
problem?
if you have ADHD and if you know you have something planned, say like I have dishes at lunch that do dishes after lunch,
Yeah.
and you already do dishes beforehand, and because your ADHD has kicked in and you do all your chores beforehand,
Yes.
it kind of screws the whole schedule up.
It doesn't need to though. It doesn't need to. It just gives you an extra half hour. And I know that we've talked about this. Then you take something that even with ADHD, if you've got it written on your calendar and it's planned out, then you can take something from after walking the dogs or whatever and put it into that slot, or after the dishes but before you walk the dogs, that kind of thing. And you can move things up, shift it up. And if you are able to do that, you're actually giving yourself more flexibility for the day. You may end up a little bit earlier and have more free time as a result. So it doesn't have to happen just because you're ADHD. It could happen because you're more efficient, because you planned so well and you got something done that you had an hour slot for, but you got it done in half an hour. So, and Alicia, I see what you wrote here, and I apologize that I didn't hear you. I could not hear you, but that's something that's going on with the audio. But I appreciate what you wrote here. So part of your strategy for getting ready for bed is the bath and making sure you're eating properly. How important is that? Not to have too much caffeine, not to have too much sugar. but to eat properly, that's so, so valuable. The start of a good night's sleep, and oils especially. Oh, so excellent, excellent contribution to the discussion here. Those are wonderful strategies to help us sort of de-stress and to train your brain to say, I recognize this. A bath means pretty soon I'll be going to sleep. And that helps you for every day that you have this kind of a routine that you are adopting. So thank you so much for contributing that. Okay, and then get a good night's sleep. And like I said, scheduling the rewards, which we talked about a little bit. Here is the time boxing I was talking about. Just really a way to say, this is just by QuickBooks. You don't have to get QuickBooks. I'm just using this as a graphic to show that you are putting things into different categories by the time that you have indicated. You estimate the best of your ability that you need to do that. And like I said, be flexible, okay? Then over here, we have more information on time boxing, how to use it, and how also, which is a very important part of this, how you review, okay? Evaluate. If every day you're not meeting your schedule, then something's off, okay? You've either not put in enough time to finish your project for that time slot, or you're putting in too much time. And this is exactly what Angel was talking about. If, you know, it doesn't have to be with ADHD, but it could be that you've taken something out of turn and now you're getting a little confused. Maybe it needs to be out of turn, okay? Maybe the way that you've been doing it is more practical and you need to modify your schedule and your plan in the future. Now let's talk about stress. And as I said, this is very much related to time management. So stress is the body's reaction to any change that requires an adjustment or response. Can there be good stress? You guys, can there be good stress? Yes, there can be. The answer is yes. Stress is like your adrenaline. And stress is also like that fight or flight. Like, you know, many years ago when we were in the caveman era and there'd be a saber-toothed tiger out there and you would get your heart pumping and your adrenaline going and you'd say, run. So stress can be a trigger for a positive reaction. But in our society, in today's world, we usually have a lot of stress we don't need. And we kind of experience poor health and distraction as a result of it. So we need to recognize that they're there, but we also need a strategy for handling it. Does anybody have a recurrent stressor that they want to talk about?
Yes.
Hi, is it
Hi.
Joni or is it?
Yes.
Okay, Joni, please tell us.
Well, I went to Florida a couple weeks ago and ended up catching COVID, been really sick with that.
Oh,
Got
no.
back and my son, he's 41 years old. He had a heart attack.
Oh my, no.
And then my nephew, he's 43 and he just died of a heart attack a day after my son had a heart attack. So I've been stressed out pretty good.
Oh no. Now your son did survive though. Your son has
Yes,
survived.
yeah, he's home now. He got home yesterday and he's doing a little bit better. He's weak and stuff, but he's doing
He's about
better.
the same age. About the same age as the boy that died, right?
Yeah,
They
yeah,
both-
that's his cousin.
Oh, so very sorry to hear that. But you have it in the family. Now, I'm going to say this. That is a stress you don't want. Nobody wants that. And obviously, those two young men were stressed because I think heart attacks are brought on by stress. But at
Yes,
the same time, what can we learn from this? Something in the family, right? Maybe a biological issue.
Yes,
Everybody can look at this as a warning, right?
right. Yeah,
And
we have
hopefully-
heart failure and cancer
Oh.
runs through the family real bad, so.
Oh, well, I'm so very sorry to hear that. But yes, so those are the kinds of things that I was talking about earlier in the chat about you can do all the planning you want, you can't prevent some things.
Yes.
This is life. This is very unfortunate.
Yeah.
But you know, all you can do is do the best that you can. You still need to plan. You know, like what Joni is saying. It's in the family. She knows that cancer and heart issues are a part of their family genetics. They can do the best care they can to eat right and to exercise and to follow doctor's orders, and especially getting a specialist where you need one. But at the same time, you can't say that that's never going to happen. So
Yes.
you do the planning, you try to avoid the stress of having it be so heavy on you that you are so afraid to live your life with that too, because being afraid is a stressor. So it is a matter of learning, a matter of merely making as many lifestyle changes in a healthy way as you can, and then recognizing that you can only do the best that you can because you're human. So,
Yes.
but I will pray for you and your family about this situation.
Thank you so much.
Okay, what can we do though when we are experiencing some very significant stressors or even regular ones? Okay, so stay calm. You know, and that's so easier said than done. You know, but again, we can learn to do our own therapy. Not only, like I said, with lifestyle changes, but when something comes across that causes you stress, like you've just gotten some negative news, doesn't even have to be any big news, but you can practice with the smaller news for how you want to cope with it. Okay. You can do breathing exercises. You can do an awareness, like what I said. I mean, it's not much, but just her son had a heart attack, but he survived. Okay. It's not a lot to be grateful for. The heart attack is a horrible situation, but there is something to say there's something good that came from that. So, but what you're doing is you're training your brain. So, with small things, let's say you're late to an appointment and you get really stressed, and maybe it's a doctor's appointment and they only give you a 15-minute window, and you get in and your blood pressure's high and all that. What you can do is you can say, but I got here. I didn't get into an accident. You know, again, that attitude of gratitude, and talk to yourself in such a way that you are building a response that will help you when you have the larger stress as well. So these are strategies that actually work. So, but what you need to do is you need to teach yourself these. And again, deep breathing and recognizing the good in this sometimes horrible, horrible circumstance. So having stress may be unavoidable, but being stressed is absolutely something to the degree that we can is controllable. Okay, become a master of time management, do the things that we just talked about, pace yourself. And again, I want to ensure that one of the most important things you can do is to forgive yourself if you're not perfect. Okay, pace yourself, be reasonable, use some of those strategies where you're saying, maybe I'm not putting in enough time, scheduling enough time. Maybe this is a harder assignment. Maybe I do need to adjust and put an hour and a half in on time so I can finish it with a good quality orientation. Okay. Secure a strong support system. Obviously, you know, things like your family, your friends, the church, professional organizations. I hear somebody, I don't know who that is, but if you could all mute, I appreciate it, but please contribute unmute when you want to add something. But to secure a strong support system, did you know that our academic advisors have resources that they can recommend for you when you're going through school and you encounter stress and other situations like financially or when you need to get a new computer? They can help you find resources. So support system can be as close as your academic advisor. Reframe, and this meeting, right? I mean, I consider these chats to be anti-stressors, right? They're a habit that you're building, you're learning from, but you also are being with it, in this situation with friends that are people who, above all, understand what it's like to go to school online, to feel that pressure. And so we learn strategies. So just coming to these chats, I think, is a part of a strategy to de-stress. Reframe the way you set your goals. What that means is, what are you doing to have a different perspective? Is it important for you to pass every class with an A? Is it important for you to pass every class on the first time? What happens if you fail a class and have to take it over again? Will it stand in your way, or is it an opportunity to learn that concept better? Is it an opportunity to learn better skill sets on being better organized and getting your work done on time? Is it a way to say, I see that instead of graduating in May of next year, I'm now graduating in June? The operative words here are, you're still accomplishing your goal. You're graduating. So maybe you have a setback that mandates that you reset your goal. But are you making progress? Sometimes one step, two steps back. But keep going. Don't give up on it. Look at your goals and say, again, can I manage if I have a bad experience? And absolutely, you can. Do not give up on your goals. They may need to be shifted time-wise, but you can still accomplish them. Prioritize self-care. What is it we talked about in time management? Where you take a walk, call your friends, go to sleep, get a good night's sleep, use some of the wonderful suggestions that some have given us about planning your bedtime. Ease into it. This is a kind of a list of strategies that are so good for you to cope every day in your life. Okay, don't stress about being stressed. Get some sleep, get some quiet time, get some social time, get a little help, and again, get some perspective. And that's why I just love this. I wasted all day worrying about the yesterday that nobody will remember tomorrow. I mean, that's just such good advice, isn't it? So, all right. So this is what we covered, some of the resources that I use. Can you guys tell me what you learned today that maybe you didn't know before you came in? Oh, I'm just reading what Amencia has written in here, that she wrote into the chat. Oh, yes, yes. I understand, and I think everybody understands this. So you can meditate, absolutely, by praying. You can meditate, with other things, but I pray. But yes, because if you meditate or you pray, often we not only get, it's incredible. We not only get messages, and we can take that to heart, right? But it distresses us. And if you are so stressed that you are reacting, right? And how many mothers haven't done that, or fathers haven't done that, reacted, right? We can learn from that, okay?
Or
And
ants.
we can adopt
Or ants.
some of these strategies. Oh yes, I know. Yes, I agree. So
More
yeah,
often than not, I've actually ended up reacting and then like, I should not have said that. I should not have said that at all.
I
And
know.
there's
And you can
times that I just,
apologize. You can apologize, and
yeah,
at the least you can do is to say, I'm learning from that. I don't
yeah,
like the way it makes me feel. I can take on some of these other strategies, like what would I do instead, and start making habits. And especially this has worked for me. I can tell you firsthand. that when I've had big stressors and I have reacted very negatively, and I'm not proud of it, when I have trained, like I explained to you, in smaller stressors, how to react, keep breathing, count to 10 or whatever, lots of material on that. If you want me, I can, if you contact me, I can certainly find stuff for you on more strategies. But train yourself, you'll be
The
better.
more ever since the very first time I actually been to your time management and stress management class,
Uh-huh.
I've actually come a long way from back then. And it's been almost 4 years now, I think.
Isn't it
And
wonderful? That's,
with
that's
well,
great.
when I first started your class, it had only been like 2 years, starting on going on 2 years of having both Haven and Raylan here with
Uh-huh.
us.
Yeah.
And because of my ADHD and the other facts that I don't like change, it took me a lot longer to, you know, get
Adopt
my,
and change. Yeah.
adapt to the
Yeah.
new scenario that I had found myself in. And on top of everything else, I also have anger issues
Yeah.
because of what I went through in the past.
Yeah.
And
Anger and resentment. I know you do. We've talked about that. But that is
yes,
certainly understandable. So I don't think
so
anybody should say you shouldn't be angry, but you
so
should look
with
at it, examine it. Yeah.
your class has helped me a lot more than any therapist that I have ever been to
Wow.
because
Write
I've
me that
tried.
in an email. I'll
I
have
mean,
it. I'll read it.
I've tried everything from the stoplight thing to walking away.
Yeah.
With your help, I've learned to whenever they've got my stress level so high, or whenever mom and dad's got me stressed so high, I have, even though the tornado hit,
Yep.
then and we were in the motel, I found a little area for myself.
So
And then when we
fantastic.
moved here, I,
Yeah.
okay, what can I do now?
Mhm.
This
Mhm.
past 2 weeks, guess where my happy button?
Do you
The
know where I
garage.
see, Angel, because
Dad
I
has let
have
me go in there and just pull.
do you know where I see that you have improved tenfold? Okay.
Hmm.
Is you're a much better planner.
Yeah.
But the big thing that you're doing now that you weren't doing when I first got to talk to you, way back when or whatever, you weren't
Yes.
thinking before you answered. You reacted, and now you are thinking when you are talking. You plan even what you say. You
Yes.
you look at things, you're a much more critical thinker than you used to be. This is where I have seen, for me, from my perspective, the biggest progress that you have made. And it is so amazing, so wonderful. So I thank you for sharing that, because obviously it makes me feel good. But the other thing is that it goes along with what I see in the changes in you. And that those changes that you have made are like 180-degree turns.
Yes. And that is one of these steps that will have to come into hand whenever I do get the job. Because
Definitely.
I will have I will practically be an actual forensic investigator. I will be on scenes. I will be looking at dead bodies. I will be looking at the murder scene.
So what's
And
important is
I have to think before I speak. I have
you
to
do.
take
You
into
do.
consideration
And
victims
and
and
absolutely. And
families.
no, Angel, absolutely, I agree 100% with what you're saying. But what has been our theme throughout this discussion? I know you missed some in the beginning, but the theme overall
Yes,
here is time and stress management, and we're looking at strategies and practice on small things. Like if one of the dogs annoys you, how does that make you feel?
yes.
Feel what
Um,
can you practice there that will help you when it's a larger stressor?
that would be deep breaths,
Breaths and just thinking about,
following breaths
I
and
think,
counting in my head.
yes, that's absolutely true. And sometimes I know, like when you say, I feel bad if I react a certain way, that's because you have empathy. You are feeling what that other person is feeling. So you feel bad. And instead of feeling so bad,
Yeah.
use that to say, I can improve that in the future. So again, those are things that have
Yeah.
helped me. And again, I think that that's where you have shown a lot of your greatest improvement. So thank you so very much for saying that. Anybody have any final thoughts before we close up for the evening? Oh yeah, I said, anybody learn anything today? I mean, Angel added, but anybody else want to say something? Okay, well, hopefully you did learn something. It was worth your time. I appreciate you coming in. Next week, we're going to be talking about basic APA formatting.
Hey, Susan.
So, yes.
Miss Susan. James Porter messaged something on the messenger board.
Oh, okay. In the chat here?
Yeah,
Okay, let me look. Thanks for letting me know.
you're welcome.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. I think I covered that. I don't see anything new that I haven't addressed. If somebody needs to add something or needs my attention, please let me know. Okay. All right. So you see my email address there. Feel free to contact me anytime. And the archives is where, I was mentioning earlier, you can look at old chats and feedback if you want to write something or even make some suggestions about something you want me to talk about sometime and discuss with you. So thank you very much, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening and rest of your week, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Okay? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay.
Thank you, Miss Susan. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.